And that was Through the Barricades by Spandau Ballet. And we're absolutely delighted because we have Nina here in the studio with us. Hi, Nina.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Sunny outside and lovely inside too.
And it's a nice day actually because the last couple of days have been really hot, haven't they? But today's just kind of about right. Well, for me anyway, it's just about right.
Just that edge off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to walk around.
Yes, exactly. So Nina, you've joined us because you're doing something really special with Stevenage Borough Council at the moment, aren't you? Or
yes.
It's Stevenage, isn't it?
Stevenage Borough Council, the New Town New Art project.
Oh, there you go. Wow. So tell us a little bit more about that. It sounds really exciting.
New Town New Art. So actually, it's not about walking around. It's partly about the cycle paths. So the New Town project is about commissioning some new art to celebrate Stevenage and particularly the cycle paths, which is part of the infrastructure right from the beginning.
Absolutely.
Wherever you are in Stevenage, you see a cycle, but you're not far, are you, from a cycle path?
This is one of the things I said when I sort of started coming to Stevenage. I come from Peterborough and initially from Bedford, but you notice that the cycle paths are everywhere. You can get anywhere to anywhere without going on a road.
Yeah.
And it's really good. And it was obviously designed like that. Even when you come up to roundabouts and that, they've taken the cycle paths. And they're not small ones, under and back up again.
That's right, and it's actually fascinating to cycle around when you're not from somewhere where you can just cycle without stopping at traffic lights all the time.
Are you a cyclist then?
I'm a cyclist. I cycle at home. I cycle to 8 miles to work.
Oh wow!
And so it's lovely circulating Stevenage without having to stop every 3 minutes. It's what a luxury.
Yeah.
So the cycle path's obviously part of Stevenage, and I've come to do this art commission in Stevenage, funded by the Borough Council, to think about what missing histories of Stevenage might be put back as we revive people's use of the cycle path.
Right.
Because more people are cycling now.
Which they're trying to, also people are being encouraged in light of coronavirus and, the fact that it affects people that are a little bit bigger. They're trying to get people healthier.
That's right.
So there's a lot of that going on too. Right, okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
So more people on the cycle paths would be the aim.
Yeah.
And how do we make that more interesting?
Okay.
Well, we're going to work, we're going to the station, but also things might happen in the cycle paths and underpasses themselves.
As I say, the underpasses are a blank canvas waiting to be used.
And there's already some art in them that people have seen appearing.
Yeah,
local
some amazing
graffiti
stuff.
art.
Well, are they graffiti? Because there's been a lot. Because one of my friends has been going. He walks. And he's been going and taking photographs of the ones in the tunnels, the sort of the underpass bits. And there's some amazing artwork. Is that not being commissioned then?
A lot of it's been commissioned by graffiti artists, professional
graffiti
artists from Stevenage.
Right.
So who I bumped into actually when I was cycling around last time I was here.
You made to say, "Excuse me, would you like to paint my wall?"
Spray paint it.
Yes, spray paint it. Yeah.
It's super. I mean, it's super cool. I just love it. It's great.
Oh, it's beautiful, so bright, and they put really amazing varnish over so it lasts. And just incredible things. And some of that graffiti art around Stevenage has been done in collaboration with local people, children from schools. So I'm following in that tradition of working out, as you say, what you do with your blank canvas of an underpass.
Yes.
Wow.
But I'm taking particular history, as I said. So when I first came and I was interested, I'm an artist and I've done lots of work about reviving lesbian and gay histories in unexpected places.
Right.
So the last project I did, and what I think Stevenage was attracted by, was I went down to Southend and I made a motorbike chorus from a women's motorbike group that existed in the 1980s. And in the 1980s, this group used to go down to Southend. They're all in the 60s now, these ladies.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that. And but they did say to me, well, we can't do a motorbike parade now. We're more mobility scooter.
Yeah.
But
that could be interesting.
It could be interesting.
Especially the flags. I mean, some of them are really pimped up. I've seen some. I was somebody in Stevenage actually recently. They were really pimped up one of those mobility scooters.
I'm in my 60s. I've still got my bike.
Yeah, that's true. He has. It's a big bike as well.
So I think they thought, well, she's done LGBT histories with motorbikes in Southend. How about bicycles in Stevenage?
Right.
Yeah.
So here I am trying to work out how to revive a bit of LGBTQ history in Stevenage in a cycle underpass.
Wow. Gosh, what a challenge. Where do you start with something like that?
Well,
Or the blank canvas.
I'll tell you where I started, which was with a local drag queen.
Right.
So I started with local drag queen Betty Buss. And Steve and I went to investigate if we could imagine there ever having been a nightclub in Stevenage that actually might now, we could imagine, have taken place in an underpass.
Oh, that's really cool. There have been nightclubs in Stevenage that most of them been knocked down. Some of them are before my time coming into Stevenage, and some of them have gone since I've come into Stevenage. But in fact, there was one just around the corner from here, just on where the studio is, which was aimed at young people, sort of under 16 age range. They used to have a night for them as well. But I don't know about LGBT.
Almost nothing. I mean, this is what I'm here for, partly to ask all your listeners and say, what do you remember? You know, I've heard there's Bolts in Luton and various places now. People go, I think, to Pink in Milton Keynes. Yeah. But everyone I've spoken to saying, well, there wasn't really ever a club here. There wasn't really ever a dedicated bar or night.
Not for LGBT. But then I wouldn't necessarily know that. But yeah, it's interesting.
But of course, not only LGBT people go to.
No. I know that, and in fact, they don't, because I have some friends who actually DJ in one of the clubs, but not here up in Essex, and a whole mix of people go to it. Yeah,
exactly. Cool. So I'm investigating. I'm looking at some of the underpasses and think, what happens if we reimagine them as a place where LGBT history actually happened?
Right. Yes.
So I'm trying to get stories of LGBT people in Stevenage to kind of contribute, tell me their tracks, what would they play in the nightclub, what would they be on stage, what would they DJ? Yeah. You know, what's a Stevenage underpass song?
That's an interesting one.
This is one for you too, with your music expertise.
Oh, hang on a minute. We played the music, we're not experts.
Stevenage.
I mean, is there an underpass song?
I don't know. We can find out. I'm sure we can find out. I was just thinking I Will Survive, but I don't know why. That was the first thing that came with the Gloria Gaynor one. Don't ask me why. That just came into my head. But anyway,
I mean, there are cycling songs. We know that
there's lots of cycling songs. Yeah. Oh, we'll have to think on that. Yeah. But you're hoping that any listeners might have some ideas as well.
I am. I would love to hear if you live or work in Stevenage and have an idea of a song for the project, or maybe something you heard or remember dancing to in Stevenage in the 80s or 90s. In an LGBT, maybe. I think there was a night occasionally at the Holiday Inn. I think.
Yeah, that's possible.
So perhaps somebody out there can confirm.
Perhaps someone can confirm.
Yeah, and there are other places as well that they used to. There's the hotel not far away from here, whose name escapes me right now, and they did all kinds of different nights. So it's possible there might be something. It might be something there. And then of course there's the youth. Bose Lion. And they used to have bands and things come there, again before my time, but they used to have really good bands. So I don't know if there were any that LGBT
bands
either bands or ones that they tend to lean towards that might have played here. Might be another thing, because there are favourites, aren't there?
There's anthems that everyone knows.
Exactly.
I am what I am, and all of those good favourites. And the women always used to play, love to play It's Raining Men, and then Mime and Umbrella.
Yes.
In the nightclub.
That's cool.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. Of course, you got the theatre groups around as well. Not that there's only the one in Stevenage, but that will have done shows that some of those songs will have come from as well.
That's right. And actually, I just found in a history of Stevenage in 1949 there was a variety show, and there was a song about the town planning of Stevenage in the variety show.
Now that could well have been the Lytton Players.
It was the Lytton Players,
and because one of the guys that used to be a member was actually the part of the town planning. He was one of the key people in it. Sadly, he's no longer alive, but. So I hear,
I don't know whether it's the same person. I'd heard it was a man who wrote the lyrics called Stanley Bunting.
Right, no, that's a different one to it.
Stanley Bunting wrote some very funny variety acts about the town planning of Stevenage. Now everything just needed to get along a little faster, and all you could see was architects and planners with their kind of measurement tools out in Stevenage. So I thought, well, one of my ideas is when the drag queen next comes, perhaps we'll have Steve do a variety act on Stevenage town planners. What would that be like?
Well, that would be quite funny. Could come in here and do it. That would be quite amusing. Yeah, absolutely. So you're looking for people to give you as much information that they can that might be helpful.
Memories of LGBT Stevenage, whatever you've got. So maybe there was a Stevenage banner that went to Pride. Maybe you went as a group to LGBT Pride in London. Maybe there was something here. I don't think there's ever been a Pride parade in
Not
in
that I'm aware of.
Stevenage.
Hitchin there has.
Hitchin there has, and Hitchin has also had bars and things. But so maybe it's stories of going to Luton, maybe things that are happening happened more informally here. I mean, one of the things that stimulated is I met a local group of LGBT youth, and they basically said, "Where's our history in Stevenage?"
Yeah, interesting. I don't know. It's a tough one, isn't it? Because sort of the people sort of our age that are LGBTQ plus are either coming out now, or or they kept it. Well, they did keep it very quiet, and so they wouldn't have congregated together, I guess, to anything like that. It's now they're starting to sort of come out and make it known that that's the way they are. They're doing things together. It's much more acceptable now than it was sort of years and years and years ago.
Yeah, although young people, I think, Stevenage still feel, hey, we're not in London. What is there for us?
Yeah, and I get that, absolutely. So when you get this project going, so what's the next steps when you've got all the...
Well, I mean, what I'd like to do is create something. Maybe it would be a colour, maybe there's some big glitter in the underpass.
Oh, we love glitter.
Yeah, a bit of glitter in the underpass. And then when people cycle through, LGBT young people or everyone might be like, what's going on? Yeah. But, not anything that you have to stop, something you just experience on your way. As you cycle through, and maybe it makes you smile. Or maybe, you have a little song. Yeah. Maybe there'll be a lyric there that you sing along the way.
So are you aiming at sort of how many underpasses?
There'll just be one. I think one will keep me going.
Have you identified one yet?
I think it'll be one on 6 Hills Way, and just by the fire station.
Okay, so fairly close to the centre of town then,
to the centre. And that one where it's got an interchange coming from...
So the big one just by the fire... I know which one you mean, yes. Yeah.
So that's what I'm exploring at the moment. And also you want to leave underpasses for other artists. Don't want to use them all.
Yeah, that's...
Are you going to have... either short-term or long-term music playing as well?
I would love that. If anyone has an idea how to embed some speakers, you could stream there.
We could. Well, there's Ray would love that. That's an idea.
That's a good point.
But there are art projects that have happened in cities around the world where people embed speakers into bits of architecture, into sides of buildings, and then they put sound art in there, or they put conversations. There's one very funny one where you could speak into it and it comes out in a different country.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so it goes through the internet and you can talk to someone in a different country through talking at the wall.
That would be really cool to have that sound. I mean, I guess it'd be doable. You just need a wireless connection of some sort, and then you'd be able to do it.
It's the power supply. That's the only limitation. Is the power supply.
I mean, of course they're lit. So there are lights in those underpasses.
So there must be power there.
So there's power. Yeah. I mean, I did suggest, but obviously it's a bit off-putting for cyclists to have flashing disco lights in an underpass. So I think that's a non-starter.
Oh, that would be fun.
You could have them subdued.
Yeah, I think the glitter might be a safer option.
Well, you could always have the flashing lights, and then as they go through, it stops, so they feel safe through it, and then it carries on. So if there's anyone in there, it stops, but it's flashing.
They tone down as they drive through.
I think this is when you'll get your town planners and highway agency listeners writing in saying, no, don't suggest it.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose you have to be sensible. We're just a bit mad like that,
No, I love the ideas.
I mean, you could tone the mood down a bit. You don't have to have them flashing. Just have them fading in and out, different colours.
Yeah, well,
Trev likes his lights.
I love my lights.
I would. Lots of ideas welcome at this stage. I'm just beginning to work out what's possible. It's in the planning stages, in the talking to everyone stages. So different bits of local authorities, and authorities own different bits of the cycle path, whether it's the cycle path itself or the infrastructure of the tunnel or the signs.
So it makes it much harder.
Different people that I'm talking to.
I can believe it. Yeah. So what's your have you got a sort of target timeline for all of this?
Well, I would have hoped to do a performance about what I'd found this summer. And
right.
Obviously that hasn't happened.
Because of what's happened.
Yeah, because of what's happened. So we're kind of scaling back the kind of public mass bit of it live.
Yeah.
But we'll hope to get something out by the end of the year.
Yeah.
That's what we hope.
Good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something for the C word period.
Yes, perhaps that time there. Perhaps
I didn't say the word.
Banned word already.
Well, my birthday's in November, so I tend to try to avoid it until my birthday's gone. But that's not working very well because I actually bought 2 presents the other day.
I think anything,
you saw something, I thought, oh, well, that'll be
anything
good.
to do with it should be banned before the 1st of December.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But if people do see a drag queen on a bike, riding through the cycleways. It's probably part of my project, that's what I'd
all right.
say.
Keep an eye on.
That sounds really cool. Well, thank you very much for coming to talk to us about that.
It's been interesting.
If you've got any if you could write me a little sort of bit of info or something like that, I'll post it up on our Facebook page so that people with the contact, and then if people who are listening want to contact you, then there'll be a way. Unless you want to mention any way of contacting you particularly.
They can always contact the project as part of the Arts and Culture Officer, Nick Mallinger at the council.
Right.
He's Googleable, Stevenage Council, Nick Mallinger, and he's part of the Arts and Culture Project.
Right.
So you can get to me through that, and I'll put something on your Facebook as well.
Yeah,
cool.
So you just send me something and we'll pop something up, and
Fantastic.
that way, excellent.
And just any memory, any small memory, like, I remember this vaguely, that's completely fine. You don't have to have a long anecdote.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have to be funny.
Yeah, okay, cool. So I always ask all the guests that we get to pick a song, something that's special to them, or it could be just they just like it. And you picked Hazel Dean, Who's Leaving Who?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about this, why you picked this.
I picked it not for me actually, but for a couple of people who I have met who live and work in Stevenage. I asked them what they remembered of Hertfordshire kind of gay life, and they remembered Bolts in Luton and this song and Hazel Dean coming and playing there, live. So
cool.
This happened in Hertfordshire in the 80s, and here we are with Hazel Dean.
Fantastic. So we're going to play
Thank you
that.
very much.
And thank you very much
Thank you
again
very
for
much
coming and
joining
joining us. And hopefully once you're a little bit further along, you'll come back again
Give us an update.
and give us an update.
I'd love to, or maybe we can broadcast from the tunnel.
Yeah, well, we can try it. Yeah,
we can
absolutely.
try.
We can definitely try that. We need to talk to the boss to see how we would do that. But if it's, I think they're planning to do something for Halloween. So if it's after that, it might already be in place.
Lovely.
But anyway, thank you ever so much. And this is Hazel Dean, Who's Leaving Who?